That is so profound. And it brings me back to, the idea that so many people around the world, different socioeconomic backgrounds, sexes, whatever it may be, struggle with the concept of even feeling worthy enough to, exist, let alone feel as though they can love themselves and accept themselves as they are. And I know that journey is a really difficult one. And as you were saying, as these titles were being removed from your life, even though you are the Allison you are today in front of us, I'm sure there was so much pain in those processes, as you were shedding, as you were releasing, as you were letting go, there was so much pain that was occurring. When you were in that moment of pain and you were in that tower moment, as I like to refer to it, how did you keep yourself moving forward one step at a time?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that question. I remember this moment. I was living in Idaho at the time and filming my TV show in California. And I was flying into California the night before my show, and everything went wrong. The flight got delayed. I'd had a big argument with my ex-husband. Like, nothing was going right. I had some people, the more you get out there, it's just by default, you're going to have some people that don't like you, and so I had somebody text, or put a comment on my Facebook page that was just horrible. And I woke up early in the morning, and the first thing I did was burst into tears. And I was in this hotel room, I'm all by myself. I pulled the covers up over my head, and I just didn't even want to get out of bed. And, as I was laying there crying, I knew, I was being pressed for time. I thought in my mind, I have two choices right now. I can either, lie in bed and feel sorry for myself all day today, or I can get up and try and change the world. And I just said, well, I'm going to get up and try and change the world. And like, whenever anything happened like that over the course of the next year, I remember just having that mantra: I'm going to get up and try and change the world. I'm going to get up and try and change the world. And it doesn't mean I didn't deal with those emotions or that I stuffed them down or whatever, but I did choose when I wanted to allow myself and how I wanted to deal with those rather than reacting in the moment. So, I know it's hard. I know it's not easy. And it's an evolution. I mean, it's something I'm still working on. I recently went to Rhythmia with my husband, which is a medically licensed ayahuasca facility down in Costa Rica. And you do these deep dive, just really intense finding out who you are. And I remember on the last day, I'm laying there and they do a lot of breath work. I'm doing the breath work and I just start to feel super hungry. And here's another secret: is the obstacles often not what's in the way, it is the way. And so as I'm laying there doing this breath work, all I can think about is dinner. I'm like, I'm starving. I just want to eat. But I thought, no, I'm going to see how this could be, the obstacle is the way instead of in the way. So I asked the question. I said, okay, what does this hunger have to teach me? And the immediate thought I got was, Allison, it's not really food that your soul is craving. It's self-acceptance. And I just, whoa. That hit me like a ton of bricks. And I did the breath work. And at the end, we breathe in and hold our breath. And all of a sudden, my mind opens up and I see myself for the first time. I'd already saw myself as that crumpled person on the floor, but for the first time, I see myself in my greatness. I see myself in my glory. I see myself as the divine being and individual that I am. And that was the first time I truly saw that for myself. So it's interesting. I think the number one tip when you're in that struggle would be to ask, what is the lesson from this? How is this struggle? How is this trial and the unexpected guest or visitor? There's this term in an Indian term called a Devi Deva Bhava. I can't quite say it right. A Devi Deva Bhava, I think is what it is. But anyway, it means treat everything in your life as the unexpected guest or visitor. As that unexpected guest or visitor is God. Treat your trials as if it's God teaching you a lesson. Treat, that hater that writes a bad post about you or comments, on you. Treat them as God. What can you learn from them? Treat everything in your life as God. So even those hardships, even those trials, what can I learn? What is this teaching me? How is this refining me? And the faster we can learn that lesson, then hopefully the faster we can get through that.
Oh, that is beautiful. And I really love what you said about the obstacle is not in the way, it is the way. I think that is so profound. I think that is so deeply changing if people accept that, because one of my teachings is pain is a part of the process. You know, when you can change your relationship with pain, then you realize that the pain is not there to actually hurt you, it's there to grow you. And I think so many people, when we experience discomfort, we freeze. We're like, oh my goodness, what can I do very quickly to get out of this, because it feels uncomfortable. But once you get through it, that's where the real miracles and beautiful moments come into play. And so while you were in that period, and as you were coming out and you've had this beautiful meditative experience, what was the journey like that unfolded after that?
You know, wow, I'm feeling really emotional about this, because I remember being in the moment of the pain and thinking, you know, this is really horrible. This is really horrible. Like, my life is falling apart. I'm ever going to be happy again. There was a point in my life when I was on, you know, antidepressants for situational depression, where I didn't even know if I wanted to live anymore. In fact, there was a moment I remember waking up, and it was at the end of my marriage. And despite all the success in my career, I didn't even know if I wanted to live some days. And I woke up, and I remember in this moment, not even wanting to get out of bed and saying, God, do you even love me? And in that very moment, there was like this crack in the blinds, and the sun hit it just the right way. And the sun hit my face. And I got this idea to take a backpack and a journal and go hike to the top of a mountain. I was living in Arizona at the time. And so I did, and I sat down and I pulled out the notebook, and then I wrote Dear Allison up at the top, and I continued to write a letter from God or my higher self to myself. And in that letter was all the answers of what I needed to do. And I remember hiking down the mountain and thinking, well, I still have to have the courage, you know, to act on these. And that was included, you know, this marriage is done. Like, you need to move on from this, and all this direction. It was really hard, but, you know, and I remember that was my first glimmer of hope. Well, over the next 3 years, as I continued on, followed through with that, I'm now in a place where I am, you know, remarried to my soulmate, somebody who I'm growing and building a business with. I love my life. I wake up every morning, I'm so happy. I get to travel all over the world with all these amazingly cool people that are these friends and high-level leaders and entrepreneurs. And that's my business. That's what I get paid to do. And I, you know, am doing the TV and the radio and the, like, everything that, and it doesn't mean that everything's perfect. I mean, there's still things in my life I've, you know, got that some people wouldn't consider perfect, but I'm happier than I've ever been. And, you know, sometimes on the other side of that storm cloud is the rainbow. And I know when you're in the middle of the storm, that's the last thing you want to hear, you know, someone be like, it's going to be all right. But, wow, I just, it was a real refining, and those things had to happen in order for me to let go of those labels. Those things had to happen in order for me to let go of who I was, so I could become who I am now and step in the space of such amazing joy and alignment. And yeah, just every morning I wake up now and I just think I love my life, and it's so much sweeter because I went through those times when I didn't. So thank you for asking that.